CBC Morning Report for today, Thursday, August 3rd. I'm Tisha Hines. Good morning. The Caribbean's secondary school principals have charted a course for better administration of the region's educational institutions. That group's 29th biennial conference concluded in Barbados just last week. And to discuss some of the outcomes is President of the Caribbean Association of Principals of Secondary Schools, Stephen Jackman. Good morning to you, Mr. Jackman.
Good morning, Tisha, and good morning, Barbados.
Thank you so much for joining us and congratulations on the recently concluded conference. What were some of the major issues identified at the conference by principals from across the region?
The major issue was the recovery and enhancement of learning coming out of 2 years of either blended instruction or home-based instruction. We've spent a year back in school and we've recognized that there are some serious learning gaps, and we have been working towards correcting them. We actually had a presentation from a school in Barbados and a school in Grenada who have been using the project, which is funded by the CDB, which is the Recovery and Enhanced Learning Project by CARICOM and the CDB. And one of the things that the Grenada situation showed that they first had to find ways to get students back into school and to come back. So they had to create a whole host of and work with the parents to get students back in school.
On the issue of CXC, the Caribbean Examination Council, we know that was a major thing a few years ago and then again this year. So what was determined in reference to exam leaks, the student-based assessment and, declining marks, things like that?
On terms of the leaks, there wasn't really much we could do except promise to work with our host governments to improve security. But CXC made a presentation to us that shows that they have themselves evaluated their courses. They are looking at the courses that are undersubscribed. They are looking at the courses with poor performance. And they are revamping syllabi. They are revamping exams, techniques. And they are looking to move to more competency-based exams, which means that the student participation and student presentations and portfolios will be a bigger part of what is happening. They are engaging with the stakeholders in the Caribbean. We were just one, and they were happy to attend the conference to tell us the plans that they have. But they're engaging with governments, they're engaging with the unions because they want to change the product that CXC is offering and make it more relevant to the job market today.
Information and communications technology in schools. Are we a little closer to bridging the digital gap in the event another major occurrence like, say, COVID had to impact schools?
This conference showed that we still have a long way to go. We had a presentation from Dr. Freedom Sheteni, who ironically is the grandson of Nelson Mandela, and he runs a virtual school in California. And one of the things that we saw as we attempted to log into that school is that the level of bandwidth and things like that have to be improved. If not, we're not going to be able to offer those services. We also had a discussion of AI, things like ChatGPT, and how we're going to be able to use them to improve student learning as opposed to fighting them and talking about plagiarism, etc. We're going to have now to show students how to use them effectively. So education is changing and we're going to have to try to keep up. But our infrastructure is always a little behind the rest of the world, and we have to find ways to make it work properly.
Now, we know all across the region, one of the major things that we've been grappling with is violence among the youth, and most certainly your schools are not exempt. Is this something that principals looked at during the conference?
Yes, and one of the things that we looked at is how are we going to continue to engage with the community, the parents, the authorities to minimize the risk of violence and incidents in schools. We have to re-educate our communities. We have to give people hope again that this education product that we offer is going to offer them a better life so that they don't move towards the other influences in society. And the only way to do that is constantly engaging with the stakeholders, the church, the politicians, the community groups, the parents, and trying to decide what it is the best education product to offer. And you know that most of the countries in the region are now evaluating their education systems and talking about reform.
And finally, did the principals leave the conference with a roadmap to follow as we go forward?
We have every conference we pass a number of resolutions. The organization itself is looking at fleshing out a constitution to make it a bona fide non-profit organization. But in terms of the principles themselves on what we're going to do in schools, one of the biggest things we have looked at is that we intend to spend the next 2 years collecting data and information on what is happening in Caribbean schools, so that when we go to forum like COSAD, etc., we will be able to present to them, this is what is happening in schools, this is what the leaders think is needed to correct it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stephen Jackman, President of the Caribbean Association of Principals of Secondary Schools. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Tisha.
Thank you. Coming up on the CBC Morning Report, former President Trump is indicted.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad?
Former U.S. President Donald Trump faces a looming fourth indictment in the U.S. state of Georgia, where authorities are probing whether his efforts to pressure an election official to alter the 2020 vote results in the state constitute a crime. This develops as the former president is scheduled to appear in a court this afternoon after being indicted on Tuesday on federal charges related to his efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election that he lost to President Joe Biden, and which he continues to falsely claim was the result of widespread fraud.
It does appear, according to his lawyers, that he will be here in person at the court at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Now, he's going to appear before a magistrate judge, and he will plead to those 4 conspiracy charges against them. His lawyers have indicated that he's going to be pleading not guilty. And then the case will be handed over to the judge who will hear it for the duration of the trial. Tanya Chutkin, she's Jamaican born, was made a judge by Obama in 2014. She'll be hearing the trial as it goes ahead. She has intimate knowledge of events on those days because she's presided over literally dozens of cases of people charged with crimes relating to the events on January 6, 2021. And she's had very harsh words about what happened that day, describing it as a violent attempt to overthrow the government that very nearly worked. So she knows about the events on that day, which are going to be a very important part of the prosecution's case in Donald Trump's hearing. She's also made very clear that the fact that the plaintiff or the defendant in this case is an ex-president doesn't cut much ice in her court. In a previous hearing involving Donald Trump, in which he brought a claim attempting to prevent White House documents being handed over to a House committee, she rejected his claim completely, and in that case said that presidents are not kings, and this plaintiff is not the president. So certainly she's pretty forthright, strongly spoken, and most importantly is well versed with the events on January the 6th, which, as I said, will be an integral part of the case against Donald Trump.
Ukraine's coastal region of Odessa was rattled by Russian drones, which hit grain storage facilities in the south of the region. The grain port was the main target of Moscow's drone attack, where about 40,000 tons of grain destined for the African nations, China and Israel, were damaged. In a call with President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, on Wednesday, Turkey's president said he will continue in efforts to reinstate the deal and urge Moscow to de-escalate the war.
On the same day that Russian drones struck a major Ukrainian port in Odessa region, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin had a phone conversation. In that conversation, which was announced earlier by Peskov, Kremlin spokesperson, President Putin announced that he would continue with the grain deal, Black Sea grain deal initiative, as long as the West keeps its promises. However, just an hour before that, his country hit the Ukrainian port where the major silos for grain were damaged. But one thing was important during this phone conversation. President Putin said that he would be visiting his counterpart face-to-face in Turkey, despite the fact that he hasn't left his country since the war in Ukraine began, and despite the fact that there's an arrest warrant against him issued by the International Criminal Court. That's why this is seen as a hope, as a message that Russia might be back on the grain deal initiative.
President Erdogan is keen to persuade his Russian counterpart to resume the grain deal, and as the relationship between Russia and Turkey is vitally important for both, there is a glimmer of hope that he will be successful. President Putin has confirmed his readiness to return to the grain deal as soon as Russia's conditions are met. At the same time, Russia continues destroying Ukrainian port infrastructure, showing the world it's not going to allow any food exports from the Ukrainian ports without its participation. After having pulled out of the grain deal, it keeps its promise to consider all ships in the Black Sea sailing to and from Ukraine's ports potential carriers of military cargo. Russia says it destroys weapons arriving at the Ukrainian ports from a number of Western countries as part of military aid to the country. While the Ukrainians say Russia's targeting Ukraine's economy too by not allowing it to export its grain, which used to bring Ukraine tens of billions of dollars in profit. As we see, currently Russia is hitting Ukraine's port infrastructure. Last autumn and winter, Russia was destroying Ukraine's energy system. Before that, there were attacks on oil and gas refineries and railway facilities. So it seems like all that is part of Russia's global strategy aimed at destroying Ukraine's infrastructure to force it to surrender.
It's time now for us to preview what's coming up on Morning Barbados. We're talking Smart Money. It's the summer camp for little ones and teens as well. You want to stick around for that. Plus, in the next chapter, we're featuring Regina Thomas, an author who has a brand new book on the market. We're also going to talk about a new film and a new book from Miranda Fergus, who's a filmmaker. And we're going to tell you a whole lot more about a Barbadian who is touring the African continent. That's all coming up at 6:30 on Morning Barbados. But next, we have more news, sports, and weather. So stay with us.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb, and together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more. Preparations for tomorrow's Courtesy Garage Pickety Crop Finals are progressing well.
Just over 10,000 people are expected to be seated in the newly created amphitheater in the National Botanical Gardens for the Calypso competition. Key stakeholders conducted a site visit yesterday as the finishing touches were being added. Corporate communications specialist with the National Cultural Foundation, Tony Yard, says they've made several provisions to ensure patrons will be able to comfortably witness the Kaiso battle.
Operation has been going okay, all for the weather, the one thing that we cannot control. But we are being assured that everything will be in place by the time you guys, Barbadians, descend upon the property on Friday. We have park and ride at 3 locations: West Terrace in St. James, Queen's College, St. James, and at the Gymnasium in Christchurch. 3 locations for park and ride when you get here. And for people who want to drive to the location, you can park down by where you usually park for, like Pandemonium, and we'll have a shuttle that will shuttle you to this location.
Event producer Aja says the 19 Calypsonians will be given a chance to test the stage and get a feel of the venue at the upcoming rehearsal.
They will be here today, and obviously they will get a feel tomorrow, so they will be seeing the venue, particularly tomorrow in terms of how it sounds, how it feels, because they will actually be running their songs with the band tomorrow. So the acoustics obviously is open air acoustics, but the acoustics here may be different from where the stage is now because of the trees, because of a lot of things. So they will get the feel of being on the stage, hence the rehearsal, right? Years ago, the artists used to just come for the first time on the show, but I sort of changed that.
There wasn't any debate on the National Insurance and Social Security Amendment Bill after it was introduced in the Senate yesterday. Leader of Government Business in the Upper House, Senator Lisa Cummins, asked for an adjournment shortly after the first reading of the bill.
Mr. President, due to a number of considerations today, the business of the Senate has now concluded. We will have a separate internal meeting of the Senate to be able to deal with a matter before us that is preparatory for some of the bills that are on the agenda. And so with these very few words today, I beg to move that this sitting be adjourned until Wednesday, August 9th at 11 a.m.
Last Friday, the bill was debated in the lower house. It seeks to gradually raise the retirement age from 67 to 68 over several years, amend the bill relating to the system of the National Insurance and Social Security by establishing a body of corporate to administer the system and perform the functions relating to the National Insurance and Social Security, among other things. There appears to have been little or no significant response to a call for a sick out by workers across the private and public sectors yesterday to protest the recently announced changes to the island's pension age and eligibility. Chairman of the Barbados Private Sector Association, Tricia Tanis, says there was no evidence that workers in that sector had engaged in such action.
The Barbados Private Sector Association and its member associations have not received any word that there's been any disruption or withdrawal of labour in the private sector of any note as a result of the call for the work stoppage in response to the government's proposed amendments to the National Insurance Scheme. We anticipate that this is both a reflection of person's personal view as to if they should participate in the action, in the sick out, as well as the fact that the union more associated with the private sector in terms of representing some companies in that sector has distanced themselves from the action as well, and therefore the fallout would be minimal for those companies that the union would represent.
Meanwhile, the single largest union representative of the public sector workers, the National Union of Public Workers, says it is also not aware of any industrial disruptions that occurred within the public sector. General Secretary Richard Green says he was not aware that any members of the union were a part of such action. Over the long holiday weekend, calls arose from former Senator and head of the Unity Workers Union, Caswell Franklin, for workers to sick out to protest the pension changes. In St. Lucia, the United Workers' Party has promised more pressure if the government does not heed calls to probe allegations of sexual misconduct against a member of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. At the same time, Prime Minister Philip Pierre has warned against alleged attempts by the UWP to destabilize the police force and, by extension, the country.
Prime Minister Philip Pierre has warned of an alleged plot by the opposition United Workers' Party to destabilize the nation, starting with the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. The Prime Minister, who was addressing an SLP rally to observe the second anniversary of the party's July 26, 2021 election victory, described the main opposition as a party unable to accept defeat.
There's going to be a lot of destabilization trying to happen in this country. The first place they're going to go is in the police force. You know why? Because never before in the history of this country, except when Kenyans and the Labour Party built the police stations and bought over 30 vehicles and took the firemen and the police out from where they were, have the police been better treated by a government? Never.
At the same time the SLP was holding its rally, a UWP meeting was underway at the Babano Multipurpose Center. Various speakers at the event repeated calls for the Prime Minister to investigate claims of sexual misconduct leveled at a senior police officer. The UWP has indicated that it would take more drastic action if their calls are not heeded.
If you're not afraid of anything, tell them, investigate me because I will come out clean. If you cannot say that, then it says to me something is amiss. And I am saying to you that the men and the women of the United Workers' Party, we will continue our town hall, we will continue our campaign, and if it means we have to take to the streets, we will take to the streets to see to it that this matter is resolved.
In Trinidad and Tobago, opposition leader Kamla Prasad-Bisesar is calling on the government to come clean on the NCB financial. She's questioned if it will be the next failed financial institution.
Opposition leader Kamla Prasad-Bisesar is questioning whether NCB Financial is another Clico in the making.
The NCBFC share price declined about 70% between the end of the company's 2019 financial year and last Friday. NCBFG's shareholders have received no dividend payment since May 2021.
The opposition leader was at the time speaking to her audience at her party's political meeting in Shoguanas on Monday night.
Tens of thousands of our citizens hold portfolios in Guardian Holding Limited, and our banks and financial institutions have exposure due to the investment in NCB.
In the Bahamas, a 71-year-old woman found herself in a foot chase several days ago after a man walked into her yard and made a mad dash with her personal belongings.
I was waiting in front of my yard. This guy coming on this bicycle from nowhere, and I was right there waiting there, but it was a little distant from my phone. He swing right in the yard, and he yacked my phone up and he run with it.
Undetermined by this unexpected incident, the 71-year-old gave chase with the cutlass she was using to weed her yard.
If I did catch him, I was thinking that cutlass was going across his back. He was to get that, but he took my nerve.
And despite her bravery, the alleged thief managed to make good his escape, leaving the taxi driver with multiple injuries as a result of the chase.
Where I was running, my slippers were slippery and I slide and I damaged my finger and my shoulders and my 2 knees got damaged.
As Gibson recounted the incident, she's urging women around the country to remain vigilant of their surroundings.
On to sports. After losing the Test and ODI series against the touring Indians, the Windies now have their best shot at a series victory in the T20 segment, which starts this morning in Trinidad and Tobago. This also marks the beginning of a long T20 home season, with the CPL set to begin on August 16th, 3 days after the end of the series. Today, therefore, could start to assist their selectors in shaping the side for the home T20 World Cup next year. As far as the squad is concerned, CBC's Anne-Marie Burke reports there have been some interesting additions and omissions.
In with Shea Hope, Shimon Hetmer and O'Shane Thomas. Out with Shamar Brooks, Raymond Reefer, Yannick Correa and Sheldon Cottrell. That has been the change of guard in the West Indies T20 team that was selected for the 5-match series against India. With such a poor showing recently and with the next ICC Men's T20 World Cup in mind, West Indies selectors are still in search for the right combinations. This time around, they've opted out of having leg spin and is more leaning to fast pace. Hence the Correa out, Thomas in decision. Something lead selector Desmond Haynes says was among many of the choices made to get a better team composition.
In this T20, these T20s, we just decided that we're going to try to look for a combination where we would like to get a little bit of pace up front. As you know, we've got a lot of our bowlers are very samey bowl at the, apart from Azari, we don't really have the express pace there, so that's why we thought let's O'Shane have a look in as well. We got Obed to do, that he can swing the ball and bowl a lot of varieties there. We also, at the time, we did discuss as well Cottrell and also Drake's. Those were the left arm options in which we look at. And with Shea Hope, we just thought that Shea is obviously batting very well, and we think that Shea is batting well enough to play in all 3 competitions for West Indies.
Hayes is seeing a holistic view to returning to winning ways, which includes ground staff in the Caribbean working with the West Indies team composition in mind to prepare pitches more suitable to our bowlers.
I know that over the last couple of years, all pitches tend to favour spin. I was sitting with the selector from India, and they were smiling in Dominica when they saw what we had to play on, and they're amazed at the fact that the majority of the pitches that they've played on so far, suited their type of bowlers. But it's something that we have to work with, because I think when we are playing in the Caribbean, I think it's important for the ground staff, the selectors, the captain, the coaches. I think we need to come together, and we should be all in sync. We should be all speaking with one voice. And I know that people might say that, the groundsmen are trying the best. Yes, I agree that they're trying the best, but I think that it is just a matter of just trying to find out first, the type of surfaces that we're going to play on and to help us. And sometimes you will get it right, and then, sometimes you will get it wrong. But playing against India and Bangladesh and those, I think we also got to look at the venues in which we play against these teams that come to the Caribbean with such top-heavy spin.
It's time now to take a look at today's weather. It's coming, so stay with us. Just a little bit behind. And we definitely want to hear what's happening weather-wise with all of the events that are happening all across Barbados today and into this weekend leading into crop over. There it is. The barometric pressure stands at 1013.5 millibars, is currently 26.8 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity stands at 78%, and the winds are blowing out of the east at 15 kilometers per hour. The present temperature, the present weather is currently fair. Sea conditions for Barbados today: smooth to moderate in open water with swells ranging from 1 to 1.5 meters and increasing. And here's a look at how the tides will roll in today. So as you go off to the beach, be mindful of that. General conditions: sunny with cloudy periods with a few brief scattered light showers. Into the evening, you can expect much of the same. Mixed skies, and clouds with occasional scattered light showers in the evening. Certainly hope they will be very light as you get ready for your various events. That, of course, is today's morning report. Our next newscast is Newsday at 12 noon on TV8, followed by The World at 1 via our radio network of stations on 100.7 FM, 98.1 The One, and 94.7 FM. It's time now for Morning Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Good morning to you. It is already Thursday, August 3rd. Welcome to another presentation of Morning Barbados. I'm Tisha Hines. I'll be here with you until 8 o'clock this morning. And of course, we are online as well. So call up your friends across the diaspora and let them know we're online so they can get a good taste of Barbados. Of course, we bring you what's happening here in Barbados and across the world. But right now, we're also focusing on what's happening crop over-wise. The last few days of the Crop Over 2023 festival. So we definitely have to get into that as we prepare for the Crop Over Pickety Crop Finals, the Courtesy Garage Pickety Crop Finals coming up tomorrow night. And lots happening this weekend. There's Soca Point O on Sunday. This is Rick on Saturday. Kadooment Monday. Yeah, lots to get through. So you definitely want to stick around as we help you navigate all that is happening. Hey, in the next chapter today, we're talking to Regina Thomas, who's an author. She wrote something called Wanting Miss Mangrove. We're going to talk to you all about the book. It's a romance novel. And very, very interesting. She's going to talk to us about the process of writing and all you can expect when you go out and grab this particular book. And speaking of books, there's a new film and a book presented by Miranda Fergus. She's an author and a filmmaker. And she has a new film. It's called The Adventures of COVID-19. It is as interesting as the topic suggests. So that's another reason for you to stick around to hear more about it today right here on Morning Barbados. Plus, we've been reaching out to Bajans afar, some of them here on holidays, some of them returned, others away from Barbados. We're going to be talking to Andrew Watson, who's been touring through the motherland, and he has some very interesting stories to share with us from Kenya. So you definitely can look out for that as well. And like we told you, we have our finger on the pulse of what's happening crop over-wise. Timmy is in the house. When's the last time you saw Timmy? Well, he's here and he's going to talk to us and he's going to perform for us a little bit later. But we're going to start by talking about, you know, what's major, what's happening right now. The children are on holiday, of course, and we want to make sure that their minds are fully employed and engaged. So to help us discuss something very important that we definitely should be starting with the little ones from as early as possible is Marcia Armstrong, who's founder of A Purpose Life. And she is here to talk to us about Smart Money Summer Camp for kids and teens. Good morning to you, Marcia. So good to have you with us.
Thank you so much, and good morning, Tisha.
All right. So a summer camp dealing with smart money for the little ones. Tell me about how you got this off the ground.
Well, the vision came to me earlier this year because I usually normally do money management classes and sessions with adults. But I understand that, you know, children are our future, and it was all about making sure that they are equipped with the money skills that they need at an early age. When we think about it, financial literacy is not something that is part of our curriculum at school. And therefore, what this summer camp is going to do is going to equip children with various financial topics so that they become fully aware, they become more confident in their money decisions, so that at the end of the day, they're able to become financially responsible adults.
All right, how early are we talking? Because like you said, we don't usually see this as a part of our curriculum, particularly for younger children. Certainly my first foray into anything to do with financial management, finances, economics, anything like that was at the university level. So how early are we starting with these ones?
Well, I'm starting from 10 years old, but I do have registrants that are 9. And the youngest child I've ever taught would have been 8. But when you look at statistics and research, children can learn about money as early as 7 years old.
You know, I agree with that. And what I would say is earlier in Barbadian life, where there used to be a lot of people who would as we would say, keep shop and so on. The little ones had to come and help make change and so on, and all of that is a part of learning about money and things of that nature. So we've moved away from that somewhat. You don't see as many small shops based out of the homes as we did before, but most certainly the children who were a part of those little home village shops would have learned early on about commerce.
Yes.
And we never really looked at it in those terms. So talk to us about the camp. I understand it's starting on Saturday, August 5th.
Yes, so it's starting August the 5th. We will meet every Saturday in August from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And I'm very happy to announce that on the very first Saturday, the children will be going on a tour, because I don't only want to be able to teach the theoretical part of it. I want children to get hands-on experiences. And as you would have mentioned, we don't have a situation where children have that level of exposure. So we're going to be doing a tour at the Exchange Museum on Saturday the 5th. But every single Saturday we will be teaching on different financial topics, from budgeting to investing to understanding credit, understanding banking, so that at the end of the day, I want my children to be able to go home and teach their parents and to have that level of excitement to know what certain things are, what certain financial terms are. And the investment for the camp is $195, which includes a registration fee. But every single week we also have some financial experts. What I will say is that I'm really happy about the sponsors that would have jumped on this opportunity, because the camp is the first of its kind in Barbados. And I would say that even yesterday our registration just went through the roof in regards to parents trying to get their kids in at the very last minute.
I love it. So make sure that you check it out. Smart Money Summer Camp for Kids and Teens. So go on in and get in. You heard her. She said that everything went through the roof in terms of registration. So you want to make sure that you get your children in so they are at least equipped to deal with life skills. Listen to me. When I think about even giving my little one or my nephews an allowance, and then sometimes how they run through the money, even teaching things like the value of money, how they can ably use their money, how they can save, things like that. Are all of these things included in the camp?
Definitely. We understand the cost value of money, because there's a difference between cost and a difference between value. So all of these things we're actually teaching children so that they're able to kind of appreciate too, that their parents work hard for their money, and it's not a scenario whereas that we become entitled to finances, but to understand that in order to work hard you will be rewarded, and how you can actually make that money work for you, how you can make it stretch, how you can multiply what it is that you have been given.
All right, tell us where the camp will be and how we can get involved. I'm ready.
So the camp will be held at the Hildegard Weeks Activity Center, which is at the Soroptimus Village in Eden Lodge, St. Michael.
All right, that's simple. So it's in a central location.
Yes.
And you said it's every Saturday for the month of August. Talk about the times.
So from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. you will meet for those 3 hours, and as I would have mentioned, it's an interactive session. So you do have your theoretical part of it, but it will be very hands-on. We have activities planned for the children. As I said, I have a couple things up my sleeve in regards to really making this experience one for the books.
Well, Ms. Armstrong, I was about to ask you about that, because sometimes it can be difficult to keep them focused when you're talking about specific things. So I'm happy to hear that you have a few things up that sleeve to be able to keep them engaged as you share on this particular topic or these areas, because I would imagine is wide-ranging and far-reaching. What I love most is that you're saying you want them to be able to go home and teach mommy and daddy, teach the people in the homes, granddads and grandmoms, a little bit more about being smart with their money.
Yes, because the thing is about money is that it's very taboo as well in the household. It's impolite to speak about money. So I want to be able to just change that dynamic, empower our youth so that they're able to just change how we look at money going forward.
Let's talk a little bit about a purpose life. What's in the title?
It was a name that God gave me when it was asking what should I name my business, and the whole concept behind a purpose life is that the services that I provide is to impact and transform your entire life. So although I'm using the vehicle of finances, ideally it is tied to your purpose, it is tied to your identity, because I'm looking at the whole self. So it's about just awakening what persons have already in them, is awakening persons to the gifts that they carry so that they can honestly, be their best version of themselves in the world.
And that calls for being financially literate. I know that there have been some efforts afoot to kind of get Barbadians far more engaged when it comes to financial literacy. If there were one thing that you could hone in on, that you would say where you need to start with the little ones without giving too much up before we get started on Saturday, what would it be?
What I will say is just to involve them in the decision-making process. It is advisable to just teach children what the why is behind what you do. I tend to think that we tell a child, stay in your place, but it is about allowing that child to become a part of your day-to-day process so that they have, an appreciation of what it is that you do, and to just feed that curiosity, because children are curious.
Yes.
So it's about feeding that curiosity, involving them in little day-to-day things, whether it's grocery shopping, letting them write up the list or check the pantry, whatever it may be, but just involve the children, because you don't want a scenario where your child just comes to you for an allowance and that's it. You want to be able to let them know the reason behind why you do certain things or your responsibility, so that they have more of appreciation for the things that they actually receive.
Absolutely. This takes me back to my childhood days, and I'm going to out one of my sisters now. I would always get sent to the supermarket because she would always bring the wrong things. I think she just didn't want to go, so whenever she was sent, she would just bring all the wrong things. Send her for salt, she will bring sugar. I mean, absolute opposites. But what it taught me is, even now when I go grocery shopping, by the time I get to the cash register, I know what the tally is, because I'm tallying in my head as I go along, because one of my biggest fears was getting to the cash register and not having enough money to pay. So I always used to be tallying as I went along. So very, very interesting to be able to put children in situations where they truly can think about money, cost, value of money, and just, be in the space where they're thinking of finances very, very early. And it doesn't have to be grandiose, I remember one of my little nephews coming home and saying he's studying economics. He wasn't living here in Barbados. I said, what's economics? He said, goods and services and how they relate to each other. And that's really what it is.
Yeah.
But, they're teaching them, getting them in that mode from early. So let's talk again about registration and how we can get the little ones involved. I'm happy that it's just the month of August on Saturday, so it's not too much. And you're going to be engaging them in different activities as well. So I love that. So it's the Smart Money Summer Camp for kids and teens. And you go up to age 16.
Yes.
Yes. And where can we register?
So there's a website, bit.ly Kids Smart Money, that you can register online. Once you register using the Google form, I will receive the request, and then from there I will contact the parent or the guardian in regards to payment information. But what I will say is that we have more than 20 kids, so I have to cut off at some point.
Oh dear.
Because I don't want the class to be too big. I believe in quality, I believe in intimacy, and I want my children to have the level of attention during the camp. So I will be cutting off at a particular point.
Okay, so $195 covers the entire camp for the 4 weeks of August?
Yes, please.
All right.
So it covers everything. Is economic, and it is competitive in regards to price. I don't want to price it too high, because at the end of the day, the children are really my focus. I just want to be able to transform lives.
All right, so make sure you check in Smart Money Summer Camp for kids and teens, and it gets started this Saturday, so you really don't have much time. Make sure you get in there and register. We share the information with you. Is there a number people can call? Because people love to go to, what's familiar, telephone numbers and stuff like that.
Yes, for sure. Persons can call me at 834-2389.
All right, so that's 834-2389. You got it? Make sure you call and get the little ones in there. Thank you so much, Marcia Armstrong, founder of A Purpose Life. I wish you the very best. Be sure to come on back and tell us how it turns out. And I hope that you capture some of it as well so we could see how the little ones are getting on with, I love to say this, managing their money.
Yes, I definitely will be back with an update about how the camp goes. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, or managing our money, people. Hey, we're going to take a break and come on back on Morning Barbados. The next chapter is coming up next.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Matchback Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for a new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
Talking. So we already started talking. Joining me this morning is Regina Thomas. I told you she's coming in to talk a little bit about her life as a writer. I love it. Interesting story already. So good morning and welcome, Regina.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So, you know, if it's one common thing I hear from most writers who pass through this couch is that their love of writing all stemmed from their love of reading. Yes. So let me hear about what first piqued your interest in reading.
Okay, so I remember there was this app, its name is Wattpad, and I just came across it, I guess one time I was on Facebook, even though I shouldn't have been on there. And I signed up for the app, and then from there I started reading stories from people all across the world. And then it just kept going. I remember my mother would sometimes catch me under the pillow, even though it was time for me to go to bed. She would catch me under the pillow with a flashlight, looking to see, you know, to read the book or the app or whatever. So it stemmed from there, and then going to primary school, secondary school, it just continued to grow and grow. And I had the privilege of being with people and teachers and family that helped me to really foster the talent and help me throughout my writing process or journey.
That is so excellent. That's a great story. I'm told that you also wrote a book in primary school. Let me hear about that.
Okay, so this book, I think I displayed it at when I graduated primary school. And it was about a singer and her father and reuniting with her mother that she thought abandoned her. And we displayed it. I remember my mother reading it and she was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And I think if you still look through like our drawers, you will see that she still has the book. And sometimes I read it to really sometimes inspire me, I guess, to remember like this is what I wanted to do from a very young age. It wasn't something that I decided to do just on some normal day or just on, so yeah.
And it's wonderful that mom was encouraging you as well.
Yeah, definitely.
With these little stories. How big was this book? How many pages?
It probably was no more than 50 pages. It was a very short story.
50 pages? This was like what, age 9?
I think you graduated at 12, I believe, or 11.
That's a lot for, and it was handwritten?
Yeah.
That's a lot, to sit and handwrite that. The only thing I probably handwrote for 50 pages at that age was lines, and teachers used to give you lines back in there. I must not, remember those things. All right, now you're here to talk to us about this one, Wanting Miss Mangrove.
Yes.
And it is, from you, it's very interesting premise to the book. Talk to me about that.
Okay, so the book itself is about romance. That is what I think I specialize in. I love fantasy and action, but most importantly, I love romance. I love writing about love and fiction about it. So I think that's where I specialize in. And the book is just about two people who shouldn't be together by society's standards, and then they end up together anyways, and then there's a lot of drama and twists and turns. By the end of the day, it's a happily ever after, and I think that's what everybody wants. So this book is just giving some people something to actually grab onto, feel good entertainment. I feel sometimes the world could be a little bit, dark and gloomy. So this is like something for you to really be happy about and read it and be like, oh my gosh, I feel so happy and loved. Yeah. And so it's just a feel good entertainment, but I like to call it that.
All right, so somehow I feel like this was fostered based on what you were reading through the years.
Yeah, well, some of it. I stopped reading for like a good few months, and I wasn't being inspired or anything like that. And I think it lasts for longer than I would have wanted. So then I started reading again, and I was reading book after book after book. And TikTok, they would have the recommendations there for you, so you never run out of things to read. So the books that I read were like inspiration for me, and then I was like, oh, well, maybe I can write this because I never saw someone write something about this, so let me do this. And one thing my books all have in common is that I have a black, curvy female lead. That's what I know. It's always somebody from the Caribbean. I don't go for tan or white or anything like that. My lead is always black and curvy because my mother's a black and curvy woman, my friends are black and curvy women, so that is what I know, and that's what I like to write about.
All right, so let's delve into this book a little bit more and about getting to the stage where she's talking about her books, as even as an up-and-coming writer, a budding author and so on. Talk to me about getting this book published.
Okay, so before I mentioned Wattpad, I would have published books on Wattpad, but then eventually I went to Kindle Unlimited, which is on Amazon. I published a book on there before, and then this time around I said, well, I'm going to do it again, but this time I'm going to add in paperback. I never did paperback. I thought it was this whole long process that is just never ending, and then I realized it was so easy. All I had to do was create the cover and just pay to have it printed, and it was such an easy process. It didn't deter me. Actually, it made me excited to even get it out there even more. So it was an easy process, and it was fun, even though the hours and the days spent going through the manuscript over and over and over. I probably know I should know every word that is on those papers because it's just memorized from constantly going up to it and making sure that I put out the best book possible, especially going from having a little writer's block a few months prior.
What do you think caused that? You said that you had stopped reading for a little while. Mm-hmm. Is that necessary when you are putting your own works together for you to kind of withdraw from, sharing in other people's works, or do you still go for that for a little bit of influence?
Well, I do go to other people's work for inspiration, influence, whatever you may call it, because sometimes it's good to see what other people are writing or what other people are thinking, and it also helps with creating a plot and making sure that how other people are doing it, you're doing it the same or even better. So and as you mentioned, I did have a writer's block, and I wasn't reading, and that was like a really sad point in my life because I love reading. I love it so much. So I had to get back in there, and I felt too I was working at a local media house, so I wasn't getting to do as much reading as I would like because of the hours. So when I finally I quit and I had time to read, that's when it just sparked in me again, and it was just like I could not stop writing. It was like every hour, every day I was like, yes, this got to go into my book, this has to go in my book, and it just never stopped.
All right, so now you are writing on a full-time basis.
Yeah.
What's that like? I mean, it must be wonderful to be able to live your dream.
Yes, it is. It really is, because like I said, reading is something that I love to do. Writing is my passion, and it's just good to do it every day. Even though I have to do everything myself, because obviously I don't have a publishing company to back me, but I have to do everything myself. So it's like I have to do marketing, I have to create the posts to put on TikTok, because that's where majority of my readers come from, looking for posts to put on Instagram to get people excited about reading the book. So it is exciting, and I feel content. You know, sometimes when you do jobs that you don't like to do, you often feel unhappy and it's stressful. But knowing that I am doing something that I love and something that I always wanted to do, it just makes me feel satisfied.
All right, I want to thank you. I'm truly inspired by you, and I love that you love reading and writing so much, and you have that level of support that you do at home to be able to do it on a full-time basis. I most certainly will be picking up this book. Where can I find it?
Okay, it's on Amazon. You just put in Wanting Miss Mangrove by Regina Thomas, and it's there. You can get the ebook or you can get the paperback.
Regina, where do you live?
Orange, St. James.
Wait, how you get all up in Mangrove? I'm kidding. Wanting Miss Mangrove, so make sure you check it out. 21-year-old Regina Thomas. Yeah, sharing with us today, so make sure you check it out. I love those shoes, you know me. Looking good. All right, well, thank you for coming in and sharing.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, and be sure to check out that book. Hey, Morning Barbados, we'll be back after this. Stay with us.
CBC is bringing two of the biggest crop-over events this weekend via pay-per-view on MCTV and online streaming. Enjoy the Courtesy Garage Limited Pickety Crop Finals on Friday, August 4th from 8 p.m. and the 98.1 The One Soca 4.0 on Sunday, August 6th from 6 p.m. Whether you're at home or abroad, you can enjoy all the action live from the National Botanical Gardens from the comfort of your home for just $60 VAT inclusive per event. Call MCTV at 228-6288 or email customer services at cbc.bb to book. Remember to have your account number when booking. And for just $60 Barbados or $30 US, you can sign up for online streaming at www.ticketlinks.com. Secure your front row seat this crop over with CBC. Book now. Special conditions apply. CBC, the home of all festivals.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. And together we will travel the world.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
4.5 minutes now after 7 o'clock, time for an update of the news. Preparations for tomorrow's Courtesy Garage Pickety Crop Finals are progressing well. Just over 10,000 people are expected to be seated in the newly created amphitheater in the National Botanical Gardens for the Calypso competition. Key stakeholders conducted a site visit yesterday as the finishing touches were being added. Corporate Communications Specialist with the National Cultural Foundation, Tony Yard, says they've made several provisions to ensure patrons will be able to comfortably witness the Kaiso battle.
Operation has been going okay, all for the weather, the one thing that we cannot control. But we are being assured that everything will be in place by the time you guys, Barbadians, descend upon the property on Friday. We have park and ride at 3 locations: West Terrace in St. James, Queen's College, St. James, and at the Gymnasium in Christchurch. 3 locations for park and ride when you get here. And for people who want to drive to the location, you can park down by where you usually park for like Pandemonium, and we'll have a shuttle that will shuttle you to this location.
Event producer Aja says the 19 Calypsonians will be given a chance to test the stage and get a feel of the venue at the upcoming rehearsal.
They will be here today, and obviously they will get a feel tomorrow, so they will be seeing the venue, particularly tomorrow in terms of how it sounds, how it feels, because they will actually be running their songs with the band tomorrow. So the acoustics obviously is open air acoustics, but the acoustics here might be different from where the stage is now because of the trees, because of a lot of things. So they will get the feel of being on the stage, hence the rehearsal, right? Years ago, the artists used to just come for the first time on the show, but I sort of changed that.
And there appears to have been little or no significant response to a call for a sick-out by workers across the private and public sectors yesterday to protest the recently announced changes to the island's pension age and eligibility. Chair of the Barbados Private Sector Association, Tricia Tanis, says there was no evidence that workers in that sector had engaged in such action.
The Barbados Private Sector Association and its member associations have not received any word that there's been any disruption or withdrawal of labour in the private sector of any note as a result of the call for the work stoppage in response to the government's proposed amendments to National Insurance Scheme. We anticipate that this is both a reflection of person's personal view as to if they should participate in the action, in the sick-out, as well as the fact that the union more associated with the private sector in terms of representing some companies in that sector has distanced themselves from the action as well, and therefore the fallout would be minimal for those companies that the union would represent.
Meanwhile, the single largest union representative of public sector workers, the National Union of Public Workers, says it is also not aware of any industrial disruptions that occurred within the private sector. General Secretary Richard Green says he was not aware that any members of the union were a part of such action. Over the long holiday weekend, calls arose from former Senator and head of the Unity Workers Union, Caswell Franklin, for workers to sick out to protest the pension changes. And that's news for now. Remember, we'll bring you an update right here on TV8 at 12 noon. That's our next newscast, followed by The World at 1 via our radio network of stations, 100.7 FM, 98.1 The One, and 94.7 FM. Morning Barbados continues after this break.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
CBC is bringing 2 of the biggest crop-over events this weekend via pay-per-view on MCTV and online streaming. Enjoy the Courtesy Garage Limited Pickety Crop Finals on Friday, August 4th from 8 p.m. and the 98.1 The One Soca 4.0 on Sunday, August 6th from 6 p.m. Whether you're at home or abroad, you can enjoy all the action live from the National Botanical Gardens from the comfort of your home for just $60 VAT inclusive per event. Call MCTV at 228-6288 or email customer services at cbc.bb to book. Remember to have your account number when booking. And for just $60 Barbados or $30 US, you can sign up for online streaming at www.ticketlinks.com. Secure your front row seat this crop over with CBC. Book now. Special conditions apply. CBC, the home of all festivals.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. And together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
11 and a half minutes after 7 o'clock. Welcome back to our presentation of Morning Barbados. We are allowing you to relax a little bit. I know a lot of you are out and about all night long and then you have to get up for work and so on. That's par for the course, people. Par for the course, especially at crop over. If you're going out, it's not an everyday thing. Just make sure you have that designated driver if you're going to go out and drink. And even if you're not going to drink, sometimes you can be a little tired. So make sure that you have someone to drive you home, because once that sleep sets in, we want you to be alive at the end of all of this. You know, have some fun, but make sure that you're great. Hey, so we are going to continue our journey talking about books and writing and film and tie it all together with Miranda Fergus, who is joining us now to talk to us about a brand new presentation that she has. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, thank you, and good morning, Barbados.
All right, so I know that you're one of these people who's taken in all the wonderful crop over action as well.
I am, some of it.
So thank you so much for making the time to come in and share with us as well this morning.
Always happy to come.
All right, wonderful. So talk to us about your adventures, so to speak, with film and writing as an author and filmmaker.
Well, I started as a child, and I always had an interest in film and writing. I published my first book, my first children's book, in 2016, and my daily bread and butter is as a teacher. So I usually merge both of them, and I made a film for myself and a team. We made a film for a challenge, a 7-day challenge, and it was about COVID. And one of the things that we tried to do was we tried to pitch at children's level, because I found as a teacher that when I was watching the information, it was not pitched for children to digest, in my opinion. So when I did the film, it was an amateur trying to make a film to help children to be able to digest the information about COVID at that time. So it was actually around the height of the pandemic. So now it would be a look back.
How different is that from perhaps just writing a story? Because with the pandemic, it was all unfolding at that time.
Yeah.
Nobody really knew what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
I know when COVID started, I was one of those people who was like, we'll be good next week.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it really hit me that it was this shutdown and nobody knew what was happening and the entire world was affected, then it kind of impacted me in a totally different way. So to be able to write about that as it is happening, I would imagine that you have to draw on, you know, something different from your regular writing.
Yes, something different, but it came from teaching. So we were online, and it was extremely draining for the teachers, but it was very scary for the children. So I remember, for example, at the time I had a reading program online, and I tried to facilitate a critical thinking, emotional intelligence space on the Google Classroom, and the children were so scared, and they were talking about if somebody come around me with COVID, what I would do. And it was so interesting to see that information, but as adults, we ourselves were processing it. So sometimes we were not necessarily considering how the children were processing it. So it was a emergence of both still, and I guess you're always a teacher, so you're always thinking about how can I provide something that provides an opportunity for learning. So.
All right, so back then this book was called The Masked Sanitizer.
No, sorry, those are two different things. I wrote a book for the Ministry of Education called The Masked Sanitizer. It came from the same purpose of going back into school. At the time I had nursery children, which were 3 to 4 year olds. And in my mind it was like, how are we going to get these children to wear these masks all of the time? So usually many teachers, myself as many other teachers also, we teach through stories. So my book that I published in number school is a concept story. So The Masked Sanitizer was a concept story of having a superhero to get students to be able to participate in wearing masks to protect us against COVID. So that particular one was that. The movie was more, I would say more fun, but still having a physical manifestation of what COVID may have looked like. And to be able to take that film into a classroom, possibly, and say, well, okay, if that were you, what would you do? Provide a medium through which children can explore the entire experience.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the process of making the film, because you said for somebody who was a little, green, this wasn't necessarily in your wheelhouse.
Right,
it was a little difficult.
So it was the NCS 7-day challenge, and finding the persons to be on board was difficult, and then actually coming together in a space of time to have the story ready, to have something that you were completely satisfied with. And you would know when you work in media, you're never 100% satisfied with what you produce.
Tell me about it.
So in actual fact, it is not really out there. I would probably maybe use it in my classroom, but I can't tell you it's not on YouTube or anything like that. But the tool is there for the possibility to use. But it was a challenge. It was a challenge for sure, and it's always good to challenge yourself because sometimes when you, as a teacher, you meet children that are having a challenge, you have to have something to relate to them. So if you know that you've had a challenge, you're able to say, well, look, you know what? I know I had a challenge. It might not have been in this particular area, but I knew what the frustrations that I felt like, and I maybe can translate it to you.
All right. What was the feedback like from the intended targets, the little ones?
Some of them thought it was like funny. Some of them was like, is that what COVID really looked like? And because we actually had someone in special effects makeup, so it was like, well, that would be what COVID really looked like and stuff like that. So it was anything that is a means of discussion that you can then draw from the known to the unknown is always a good source. I think so. It was not too bad.
All right. So would you say then that the message that you intended to send over through your film and then the book, did it resonate in the way that you wanted?
I would say the book for sure. No, the book is not is the property of the ministry. I wrote the book, but I distributed it digitally to colleagues, and the character is actually on posters throughout school. So if you go to your school, you see this lady in this red suit that is actually the mask sanitizer. And when I do the story of, I'm at a mental age boys school, hello boys, they was like, teacher, that's the mask sanitizer, we got help, because it's still, being sanitary still is valid. So they would be like, let the mask sanitizer, so once you can relate, yeah, it has been effective.
Well, this might be one of those questions that seems like, a question that's a non-issue to you, but where do you find the time to get into writing and so on, because I know as a teacher that can really take up a lot of your time, getting through lesson plans, correcting homework, really just getting through your day and then getting ready for the next day.
Interestingly enough, these particular stories, the math sanitizer came up because I was at home and I went up to the beach because online teaching was so difficult. That was my detox. So I wrote that within a couple hours sitting at the beach. So sometimes it happens and the idea comes and you produce the story, and then sometimes you take years to get a story completed. So it's not predictable. But it's trying. I'm seeking the discipline now to be able to create works consistently, because there is definitely a need out there for Caribbean and Barbadian works, and there's a lot coming out. Like I just saw, looking for Miss Mango. Sorry, I want to look for it. Yeah, I want to find the book and be able to purchase it. Yeah. So it's finding balance, as one needs to do in life, to be able to find balance.
Oh, that truly is excellent. So this is the beginning of your filmmaking days. Can we expect any films from Mother M in the future?
Yes, and not only film in the educational area, because when we think about it, our era would know about Sesame Street, and that is an excellent example of educational media produced, and we don't even have to go far from home. I remember, but my age is hitting me now with the lady that used to do the storytelling, Fun School. Yes, and those of us that wanted the opportunity to go off Fun School, there's room for more media like that. I think that it should be out there. It should really be out there, because who's going to tell a story to our children but us?
And more recently, we had the Molly Show.
Right, with the puppetry and stuff like that. Yeah.
So definitely some interesting times.
Yes.
I totally agree. Congratulations on making this film, on making the move to make a film.
Yeah.
Move past your comfort zone and try something new. That's now a part of your wheelhouse, even if you have to, add some more to kind of build it out. That's all par for the course.
Yes.
So congratulations. The adventures of COVID-19. Now, you said that you haven't put it online, but I hope that you make that move.
Person have been trying to ask me too, but as they say, we're not satisfied, so it's like, ugh.
Well, it's a start.
Yes.
It's a start, so it will be wonderful to be able to see it. Outside of that, is the book widely available for people to be able to get the
mask sanitizer? Because the mask sanitizer is really a property of the ministry. Any teacher can get it from me digitally. I'm a parent, but it's not for sale or anything like that. So if you
so you can get it digitally.
Yeah, you can get it digitally.
All right, so you can just reach out to Miranda Fergus, author and filmmaker. You can add teacher too. So many titles. But she definitely is making moves and sharing in different and even more discerning ways for our little ones to be able to grasp what's happening every day around them. Thank you and congratulations. Thank you, all right, we're going to take another break and come on back. It's Morning Barbados, the Thursday edition. Stay with us.
Nobody had to worry, 'cause I thought we had a like it so.
On behalf of the Weewoo, what brings you here? Well, just as my colleagues in other countries have tracked your activities, we, the team here, will be doing the same. So, like I said, we're here to capture your misadventures. Do you have a to-do list?
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Max Pack Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for a new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
7:26. Now, former 4-Hers are having a reunion, and it's going to be very interesting. It's in the form of a week of activities that's coming up pretty soon under the theme Together Again. We have Lennox Padmore, who is co-chairman of the 4-H reunion group, and he's held several titles in the 4-H movement throughout the years. So let's say a hearty welcome and good morning to Mr. Padmore. Welcome to Morning Barbados.
Thank you so much, Alicia. Good morning. It's a pleasure.
Alicia is not on set. This is Tishia, but that's A-okay.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, sir.
I humbly apologize.
That is okay. All right, so tell us all about this reunion that's coming up, the week of activities.
Okay, we are starting off on Sunday, August the 6th, with a church service at the Covenant Life Teaching Center, and that is over there, Green Hill in St. Michael, with the church service at 8:30 in the morning. And we have extended invitations to all of our past 4-Hers, and everybody's really excited because a lot of us have not seen each other in a long time. So we're really excited about, this entire week of activities. The church service commences at 8:30, and from there on, we will be moving on for a meet and greet over at the St. Paul's Church Conference Center. That is on Bay Street. And the meet and greet starts about 1 in the afternoon. And we're going to be there until probably around 5 o'clock or so, because we have a packed program planned for that afternoon. There have been some people who over the years have contributed and done yeoman service for 4-H in Barbados. And we want to make a small presentation to these persons. There are about 6 or 7 of them. There's some little light entertainment, plus we're going to be socializing. There is a packed menu, so it promises to be an afternoon well worth it.
All right, so that's one part of the entertainment. It's an entire week of activities. So tell us about what else we can expect throughout the week.
Okay, the following day, well, we know that it's Kadooment Day. Yeah, but we have a T20 cricket match, softball cricket match. Let me stress softball, because a lot of these guys, can't deal with the hardball. But this match comes off on the morning of the 7th, and the Coachell pasture in St. John. The reunion 11, which is going to be led by David Chase, are going to oppose the hometown club, Eastern 4-H Club, and that team is going to be led by Lionel Holder. And let me stress that these are all former 4-Hers, and they are all excited about this cricket match, and it should be over by about midday. And then, whoever wants to go down Bridgetown and the Mighty Grinder Highway and watch the bands and, take in the activity are free to do so, because by 12 o'clock we should be over and done. That takes care of the Monday. The Tuesday, the day following, is a free day. But on the Wednesday, we have games afternoon, and the games afternoon takes place at the Boys and Girls Police Boys and Girls Club on Bay Street, and that starts about 4 in the afternoon. And we're gonna be there all night, socializing and playing domino, card games, you name it. Plus, there's gonna be some light refreshment served. And again, a lot of the emphasis is on socializing, because we have a lot to talk about. We were in the 4-H organization in Barbados, some of us during the late 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and many have migrated out of Barbados. And a lot of us have, other than, seeing each other on social media, we have not had that physical contact with each other in many years. So this is an opportunity, that we can come together, sit down and talk about family life, what we've been doing since we've not been in 4-H, a lot to talk about, a lot of ground to cover.
So how can people connect? Do you have an online presence? Is there a Facebook page? Is there a number to call? Should they contact a local chapter? How do they connect with you?
Okay, we have a very active WhatsApp page, and
a WhatsApp group?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and there are about 80 something of us, maybe more, but it is a very lively chat. And this chat was created by one of our former 4-H leaders in the person of Otley Cox Burrows, and as a result of that chat, that gave birth to this entire week of activities that is upcoming, because we've been going on daily and talking to each other and stuff like that. And then one day out of the blues, my fellow co-chairman Wayne Morris said, it's time for a reunion, and everybody jumped on the idea. Everybody embraced the idea. And so, for the last almost 2 years, we've been having monthly meetings online, planning, and here we are now.
All right, that's excellent. So coming up on Thursday 10th, there will be an island tour. On Friday, you're going to lime at Oystons, and then on Saturday is the grand finale lime hosted by O'Neill Hines over in St. Philip. So I want to wish you all the best on your reunion for 4-H. Certainly, I would imagine that you're going to have a wonderful time together, as wonderful a time as the bear that's sitting next to you. Have a good day, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
All right, that is Mr. Lennox Padmore telling us all about the 4-H reunion group that's coming up. So if you were a part of the 4-H movement, the 70s, 80s, or 90s, maybe early 2000s, and you want to be a part of that group, you can go ahead and reach out to them. We're going to take a break and come on back. Hey, still to come on Morning Barbados, Timmy is in the house as we bring Crop Over to you. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
CBC is bringing 2 of the biggest crop over events this weekend via pay-per-view on MCTV and online streaming. Enjoy the Courtesy Garage Limited Pickety Crop Finals on Friday, August 4th from 8 p.m. and the 98.1 The One Soca 4.0 on Sunday, August 6th from 6 p.m. Whether you're at home or abroad, you can enjoy all the action live from the National Botanical Gardens from the comfort of your home for just $60 VAT inclusive per event. Call MCTV at 228-6288 or email customer services at cbc.bb to book. Remember to have your account number when booking. And for just $60 Barbados or $30 US, you can sign up for online streaming at www.ticketlinks.com. Secure your front row seat this crop over with CBC. Book now. Special conditions apply. CBC, the home of all festivals.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. And together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados?
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, it's time for a trip to the motherland at 24 minutes before 8 o'clock. We've been in conversation over the last 2 weeks, so I'm really excited to find out where he is now as he continues his trek through the motherland. Let's welcome Andrew Watson and Gloria Watson. They're Barbadians who are touring across Africa. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
From the motherland.
Greetings from the motherland.
All right, now Andrew, like I said, we've been chatting quite a bit through our mutual friend Jeffrey, who connected us, and you've been sharing a lot of what you've been up to. I believe you are now in Kenya. Tell us a little bit about Nairobi.
Well, Nairobi was wonderful, but we are really now in Rwanda. We left,
so you've moved on.
We moved on. We leave Nairobi on last Sunday. Now we're in Kilgali, Rwanda, and we're having a fantastic time. Life is better in Africa.
So I know the exciting videos that you shared were from Nairobi. So tell me a little bit about your experience there.
Nairobi is a city that is a bustling city. I mean, it's comparable to any city in North America. And I mean, it has so much to offer. It is a wonderful place for us to visit as Barbadians. As a matter of fact, as Caribbean people, I would encourage us people that if we ever travel to Africa, we must come to Nairobi. It's a wonderful place.
All right, now
And wonderful people.
Mrs. Watson, tell me about your move to kind of tour across the motherland, you know. How did you guys come up with this idea and then follow through with it?
Well, it's something that Andrew had wanted to do for years, for many, many years. And the time just came. Actually, our first trip was in 2021. And, you know, we visited certain places in Africa at that time. We went to Tanzania, Arusha. We went to the Serengeti. We came to Kenya. And, you know, so there are places that we went starting in 2021, but it was something that Andrew envisioned for years. And it just so happened that now that our dream is coming to pass. So we have a lot of places on our schedule to visit while we're here and even to come back. But yes, it's something we've envisioned for years. And
All
it's
right.
possible, so we're doing.
All right, so Mr. Watson, talk to me about some of the most impactful things that, you know, you've discovered on this particular trek across Africa.
Well, the equator was one of the most exciting parts of this whole journey. I mean, to see that pin spinning clockwise at such a fast pace. We
All
know
right, so
that
you
the
have to
Earth spins
explain
at
it.
70.
Now you have to explain it to us so that our viewers understand what you're talking about. So tell us where you were and what you did, so they understand.
We were in northern Kenya on the equator, and we met this gentleman. He lives right outside the equator, very elderly man, and he was very wonderful. He brought us this demonstration, and we know that the equator divides the Earth into the northern hemisphere and from the southern hemisphere. So when it's winter in the south, it's summer in the north, and vice versa. So we had this wonderful experience to see this elder. He showed us how the Earth spins and how it operates. So he brought this demonstration to us, and I saw it to be a very wonderful thing. So when we was on one side of the Earth, like the southern hemisphere, and we dropped this pin into the water, it spun counterclockwise. When we went to the northern side of the equator, on the northern hemisphere, it spins rapidly clockwise. So we know that the Earth spins in the clockwise direction at 77,000 miles an hour. So this pin was spinning very rapidly in the clockwise direction. So it was amazing to see that. And when we sit it directly on the equator line, it remains still. So that was one of the most wonderful experiences that we had this far. And I mean, Kenya is a wonderful place. We went to the countries, we went to different places, and we had a fantastic time. So I would tell Barbadians, go ahead.
You will tell Barbadians, continue.
I would tell Barbadians that Africa is a wonderful place to visit. It's a lot to see. The people are very nice, very cordial to our people, and they want to unite. They want to see us come together.
All right, wonderful stuff. Now, Mrs. Watson, you started telling us about all of the other places you're hoping to visit on this particular trip. So tell us more. You've already been to Kenya. You said you're now in Rwanda. What are some of the other stops you're planning to make?
Okay, we're going to Uganda. We're going to Zimbabwe. We're going to Zambia. We're going to Namibia. And we also plan to go to South Africa, Johannesburg, and Cape Town. Yes, and Botswana. I think I missed Botswana. But those are the places that we plan to hit on this trip.
Oh, that's excellent. I know for you, Mr. Watson, a major thing was, and it's wonderful that you're able to tour the motherland, because a lot of the times, you know, we, based on what we see in Western media, we kind of pigeonhole India, Africa, in terms of what we think about it. So like you said, we are here in this part of the world, very, very warm conditions. So there you were in Kenya, and, you know, in front of a fireplace. And I know that was something that was very, very interesting for you.
Yeah.
Yes, Kenya was very cold. Kenya was, it was very, very cold. I mean, a lot of times we think that Africa is a furnace, but that is not true. As we go south, we can experience much colder weather, like Johannesburg and Cape Town. So Africa, and let me say this, Africa is the only landmass that has land in all four hemispheres. Africa has land in the northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere, the eastern hemisphere, and the western hemisphere. So, I mean, So we gotta be mindful that we have seasons in Africa, especially in South Africa, like Europe, United States, or any other place.
All right, so I wish you the very best on the rest of your trip. Do certainly continue to keep us informed. We're enjoying all the videos you're making. You're certainly a filmmaker in your own right now based on all that you are sharing and you're documenting it very well. So stay safe, have a good time, and keep us informed. To you, the Watsons.
Thank you, and
so much.
And remember, it's better in Africa.
Thank
Come
you.
come home, diaspora. Come home to the motherland. It's better here. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And
Have a
thank you
great-
so much for sharing.
Bless,
have a great
bless.
day as well.
Say hello to Jeffrey for me, my
I
friend.
will, absolutely. Jeffrey is our mutual friend who connected us.
Yeah.
And so thank you so much, Jeffrey. Always great to hear of what's happening with Barbadians who are indeed traveling all across the world. Hey, we're going to take another break here. It's about 15 minutes to go before 8 o'clock. I don't know about you, but I could use a little pick-me-upper, you know, apart from rolling the shoulders or whatever. Who knows? We might be able to roll something else because Timmy is going to join me on the couch. That's next. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hey, so I told you he was joining us this morning. So Timmy is here. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, and how are you doing?
I'm
Happy
doing
crop
good.
over to you.
Happy crop over. It's been quite some time since I've seen you around. Maybe it's because I've been absent. Yeah, but you know, how's crop over been going for you?
It's relatively good.
Relatively good, he says. All right, so this year you have 4 submissions for the Crop Over Festival. So talk to us about the music that you've made this Crop Over Festival.
Well, the music basically was, I would say, a hold back because of the COVID and stuff. So the preparation was already there. So I just decided to wait until the gates were completely open to reestablish that Timmy is still singing.
All right, good stuff. So you held off for a minute?
Yes.
Based on what was happening with COVID and so on?
Yes, please.
And what were you up to? I mean, like, you know, were you working with the Barbados Fire Service? We know you're known for the fire hose, the water hose. Yeah, I'm being bad. Give me no attention.
Well, it's just the preparation, you know. When you have a project, sometimes you go back and you look to tweak it, you listen back, you might find something that you feel you could have done better. So you have the time to do it. So you do as much polishing and updating as possible you can.
When you look back on your career, what you've done throughout the years, you know, it must really put a smile on your face from where you started. We certainly remember Timmy as a part of the crew that could really move the waist and stuff like that. The grass skirt posse, that's right. Yeah. To see that at least 2 members of the grass skirt posse have risen to the places where you and Mikey have in the music industry here in Barbados. It's really put a smile on your face to see what you've been able to accomplish.
Well, yeah, from the inception, first off, you have to give props to Peter Ram, Terry Yaffa, Monster Peace, because that was the initial springboard, along with Iowa George, because he was the person that initially pointed out that I should be an entertainer.
Talk to me about how that happened.
Iowa George was in Barbados for showing the After Dark with Square One, and he was giving away one of his CDs. So the song Show Me Your Hand, let me see ya, you would remember the song.
Yeah.
Right, so it was basically like a small competition to win the CD, and I went and sing the song, you know, of course dancing along with it, and changed the lyrics, and I was like, okay, Terry, you guys need to get him a song because he seems like he can handle it quite comfortably. So that was the initial, and then what was surprising is that he checked back to see if it actually happened.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have to give Iowa props at the end of the day. And I always, every time we butt up on a show, he would look at me and he would smile, and I always have the newspaper clipping to show him. Like,
Yeah.
you remember this? And he would hold down his head, which you would be seeing like a blush in his face because he know what happened.
Yeah.
You know, so we share that.
Oh, that is truly a wonderful story. I've never heard that story, Timmy. So, you know, that's a great story to see that artists are truly reaching back to help younger artists, and when they see talent, they're working to help develop
Correct.
and showcase that talent as well. Talk to me about the first song that you put out as Timmy and the kind of feedback you got and where that put you in terms of headspace.
You mean first song this year or
No,
first song?
first song
you mean
ever.
Well, the first song was a collaboration as Grass Skirt Posse. We did an Old Year, New Year song, recorded on the ground, which with Darren Grant and Michael Agard's studio, which at the time was Crossfire's manager / instrument player. And the following year, I knew that I was gearing up with the single, the track that Peter Ram wrote, Up and Down. So it was exciting, you know, just to wait for the finished product, because I was chomping at the bit. Terry Yaffa was surprised because when he gave me the song, I went home and I memorized the song. I called Terry within like a day and a half, and he was like, "You can't learn the song already?" I said, "Yeah." So I sang the song over the phone, and then he told me, "Okay, you sure?" I said, "Yes, I sure." So then we went to Monster Peace Studios, and he put down the final vocal. Then it was just a waiting process. So then you know you're at the edge of your seat waiting. It's the first time you're going through this particular avenue of your life, waiting to actually hear how the song is gonna come out at the end, the mixing and mastering stages. Then the song was released, it was received, so I was happy with the outcome, not knowing that there's extra levels at the end of the day, in the sense of when your song blow up and get bigger or what the case may be. But for the first contribution, it did relatively well. It was received at a lot of the school pageants at the time, because after Crop Over, you know, they used to have a lot of school pageants with secondary schools and what have you. So accompanied with the Grass Skirt Posse, we created a vibe around the song. And the following year, then it was Cavossier again, written by Peter Ram.
I know that you didn't. Let's not even talk about Cavossier. Yeah, you definitely had a string of hits. I know that you didn't have to think too hard about costuming back then. I don't know if you're going to go with the costuming you went with back then, because this is an older Timmy, and it's cold in the studio. I remember your costume used to only be a pants.
Yeah, and it used to end up being just a pants and socks and shoes, Because at the end of the day, when you have to be yourself at the end of the day and don't copy anyone. Because when you're copying somebody, it's just, okay, that's been done before. What else you bringing to the table?
Yeah. All right, so 4 songs this time around, and you're going to perform for us Lord Have His Mercy, one produced by Noise Boys,
yeah, which is the title
for 2023. Track. So talk to us about this track.
Well, the track was a planning in the making from the Noise Boys point of view. When I did the reunion show last year with my keys, when I came off the stage, because the performance was well received, so then the Noise Boys approached me and said they would like to proceed a project. So I told them it was no problem. We exchanged numbers and they called me. They came by my studio. We listened to a series of rhythms, and the Lord of His Mercy rhythm jumped out at me. Well, at the point, that's not what it was named, but that's the one that jumped out, and I sent the demo back to him as he was on his way to work here the same night. So the song was basically written the same night, and then we worked on, well, fine-tuning how I want the rhythm to be edited and stuff like that, and that's the project.
And that's it. All right, so Tim, I think the only thing left for us to say is good luck in the last few days of the festival. You know, continue flying the Barbados flag high. I know that, you know, your songs are still heavily rotated and heavily requested. But this morning we are requesting a performance of Lord Have His Mercy. Can we have that?
Yes, certainly. Just
direct
me to where I send my invoice to your accounts department.
I'm going to tell you, you direct your invoice to a lady by the name of Kim. I'll give you more details. After this, Timmy's going to perform. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
CBC is bringing 2 of the biggest crop-over events this weekend via pay-per-view on MCTV and online streaming. Enjoy the Courtesy Garage Limited Pickety Crop Finals on Friday, August 4th from 8 p.m. and the 98.1 The One Soca 4.0 on Sunday, August 6th from 6 p.m. Whether you're at home or abroad, you can enjoy all the action live from the National Botanical Gardens from the comfort of your home for just $60 VAT inclusive per event. Call MCTV at 228-6288 or email customer services at cbc.bb to book. Remember to have your account number when booking. And for just $60 Barbados or $30 US, you can sign up for online streaming at www.ticketlinks.com. Secure your front row seat this crop over with CBC. Book now. Special conditions apply. CBC, the home of all festivals.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Happy crop over, everybody. I'm freaking out. Oh gosh. Lord have His mercy. I balling out. Oh gosh. When she start to roll her body, I freaking out. Oh gosh. Then over girl, no one show me. I balling out. Oh gosh. Put the promised land in front me. I freaking out. Oh gosh. Long time I dey waiting for she. I balling out. Oh gosh. She tell me I dirty. She tell me I smutty. When I hear the rhythm play, I ready to worky. She tell me I flirty. My waistline too dirty. I give she it up and her body. Assume the position and then show me missionary. When I start to put in work, she say I walking up dirty. So I slow down the wine. She tell me I flirty. My waistline got wine galore like words in a dictionary. So assume the position and then plenty work for she and she friend. Hope this party would never end. Be doing this next year again. When she start to roll her body, I freaking out. Oh gosh. Then over girl, no one show me. I balling out. Oh gosh. Put the promised land in front me. I freaking out. Oh gosh. Long time I dey waiting for she. I balling out. Oh gosh. She tell me I dirty, she tell me I smutty. When I hear the rhythm play, I ready to worky, worky. She tell me I flirty, my waistline too dirty. I give she a up on her body. No water down drinks in here, the wine sweeter and sweeter. Somebody remind she fast, Timmy is a whiner. Shuffle up my waistline quick, synchronize the timer. I watch she about 7 times like the road march get with my grinder. So assume the position and then plenty work for she and she friend. Hope this party would never end. Be doing this next year again. When she start to roll her body, I freaking out. Oh gosh! Bend over, girl, now and show me. I balling out. Oh gosh! Put the promised land in front me. I freaking out. Oh gosh! Long time my day waiting and she. I balling out. Oh gosh! She tell me I dirty. She tell me I smutty. When I hear the rhythm play, I ready to worky, worky. She tell me I flirty. My waistline too dirty. I give she a up on her body. Happy crop over to everybody. Respect all the time, every time.
Oh yeah, good stuff, Timmy there. I hope putting a pep in your step this morning. Coming up tomorrow on Morning Barbados, DJ Chili. You've been seeing him with Mix It in 5. He's going to be on with us as we prepare you for the Courtesy Garage Pickety Crop Finals 19. Calypsonians facing off at the National Botanical Gardens, and we want you to come out to Q in the community today. Make sure you make your way out. If you can't make it out to Q, you definitely have to tune in to 100.7 FM. Follow us online on Facebook as well. The Fairchild Street Market is where we're going to be today. So make sure you come on out and be a part of the Q family as we take you through all of the action at Q. That's it from us for today. Remember to wear your smiles as you go through your day. And I know lots of you, the eyes will be shutting down. You went to Rise last night and there's this and that. There's so much happening. But be careful as you go through your day and come on back tomorrow. On behalf of the entire crew, have a great day. Bye-bye.